I better do a disclaimer on here. This video is going to be some spoilers from Terminator Genisys. The only reason this is my first time I'm doing this, it's just the movie pissed me off so much, I just feel like I have to give a lot away. Because I'm really telling people not to go see the other regular Terminator Genisys review. Go back to that and then come back, or if you haven't seen the movie, I should say, definitely watch the movie if you want to, and then come back and watch the spoiler stuff here. So, but just so everybody knows, this will be a spoiler alerts here and all that, just so you know. So for Terminator Genisys, the first thing that really ticked me off about this film, whenever Sarah Connor talks to Kyle Reese, there's a scene where they both of course have to get naked to go into the time machine to end up going forward to the year 2017. She doesn't tell him that, oh, by the way, you're the father to John Connor. So the thing is, of course, John Connor wasn't going to say anything, you know, and he does eventually call him dad at one point whenever John Connor gets to 2017, whenever he sees him in the hospital and helps him escape and all that stuff when they're in the parking lot. And Kyle Reese is like, what? It's like, oh, and looks at his mom and says, oh, you didn't tell him or anything. Honestly, I know it's like you didn't know who this person was and all that, total stranger, but honestly, something like that, you better make sure you tell. And just, it could have been a much better movie, like, oh shit, he's my son? Unbelievable. I was his right-hand man this whole time, too. Sarah Connor does not tell Kyle Reese. She eventually does, probably about, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes or so into the film or something, that she says, oh, by the way, that the Terminator, I actually had a Terminator when I was 9 years old. 10 years, my bad. Earlier than originally was supposed to have been for the film, in the 1984 film, you know. So it says about, you know, the Terminator will save me and he'll protect me, and, you know, honestly, he's been training me, and, you know, I think I've been doing a pretty damn good job, you know, surviving all this time, blah, 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 you know, and of course, boring dialogue comes in after that. So it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, they eventually say that, but it was just like, you know, there was just some of this stuff that was just like, I really didn't care about. And said, you know what? Let's give ourselves another year. Let's wait a little bit more to bring out a good Terminator film. Really, I got to talk about the ending. Again, you know, with all the spoilers that's going on, I got to talk about the ending here. The huge fight scene. The fight scene's okay, but I guess the whole thing is the Terminator always died. No matter how good he was, he always died in all of them. Yeah, he was the bad guy in the first one, he was the good guy in the second, and he was also the good guy in the third. He always died. This one ticked me off because you thought he was going to die. Like half his body ended up splitting in the time machine. John, I think, supposedly did finally die. You never know. You know, a lot about John Connor all this time. But what happens is that the Terminator ends up falling like in this little gook or anything. And the thing was, they were pretty much trying to mimic, you know, new Terminators like who John Connor was. And I forgot to mention the word Genisys. Skynet. You know, what happens is there's a scene at the very end where Kyle Reese and Sarah, they're actually kind of locked in this room and they're trying to find a way to escape, and all of a sudden you get one of the knives from the T-1000 that like kind of stretch, you know, one of these that kind of stretches the door, both hands stretches the door. Well, it turns out it's actually the Terminator. It's actually Schwarzenegger. And I'm thinking what they might do is if Schwarzenegger does do another one of these, I wonder if they're going to end up having one of those where he's more upgraded, more advanced and all that, then maybe he could be the next like T-1000 to change in different shapes. We'll see, but that did kind of bother me that, you know, Terminator, he's supposed to die because he doesn't belong in that universe. And I get the whole thing about the world's so different, blah, blah, blah. But it was just not exactly. And I don't think I mentioned this in the other review or not, but there was something in the middle of the film. I didn't actually stay all the way till the end in case there was something else. But the middle of the film, this big red ball, it looks like it might be maybe a new time machine or time, you know, traveling, who knows. and they show the figure, you know, kind of all, you know, like pretty much a computer, like lawnmower man kind of thing, just kind of like flashes himself there and looks up at this Christmas ball or whatever you want to call it, snow globe or something. But that's kind of how the middle goes. And like I said, I don't think there's anything at the end on that one. If anybody does stay for the end, please just tell me, you know, spoil it for me. Thank you guys so much for listening, and you know, like I said, I mean, maybe I might do more spoilers. We'll see how this one goes and just go from there, guys. So as always, please subscribe, please like, please comment. Love to hear from everybody out there.